Hey everyone, it's Junaid from MENINFLUENCER. Hope you look good, feel good and are ready to prosper, because in this video I want to talk about an important topic. I want to talk about how to deal with anxiety as a teenager. So in this video I'll go over 7 steps, and the first 3 steps are mental steps and the last 4 steps are actionable steps. And thus, if you're someone that is excited and is someone that feels like they can use this video, please stick with me till the end, because I will give you actual actionable steps and will give you the mental strategies to implement this in your own life. So before I start, if you're someone that is new to this channel and would love to see more videos like this, please consider to the subscribe button and help your brother out. Anyways, with that said, let's jump into the video. So first of all, I'm gonna start with the mental steps. And the first step is to accept the reality. So hey, look brother, or even sister, because there were a few girls that mentioned that there's also girls watching these videos. And here, I'm acknowledging you now. So when it comes to the first step, you need to accept your reality. Because the truth is, some people are more anxious than other individuals, and thus for those individuals, if you're constantly trying to get rid of this anxiety, this particular feeling, if you try to get rid of it, you start to feel it a little bit more. A good example that I usually use is the feeling nervous. So if you're someone that feels extremely nervous, whether you're doing some sort of presentation, you've got something very special coming up, or whatever it is, if you're trying to get rid of that nervous feeling, you usually end up feeling more nervous and nervous because you're constantly focusing on this particular feeling. All you pretty much are thinking about is that, damn, I'm nervous. What should I do about it? I hope no one else is noticing it. Damn, I don't know what to do, I'm extremely nervous. And that will continue in your head. And for this reason, you're constantly focused on this feeling, and this will only make it worse and worse. And I do understand that anxiety doesn't have the same correlation compared to a lot of other feelings, but for some individuals, it does tend to help, where you accept the reality and you're like, okay, I can't change it. I shouldn't only focus on this particular feeling or how my emotions currently are. And for those individuals, over time, you'll notice that you end up having more control over your anxiety. Number 2 is to identify your feelings. So when it comes to identifying your feelings, especially if you're someone that simply doesn't know where they have to start, but the way I want you to think about how to identify your feelings is to think about certain situations. So think about the situations where you're thinking about something that's actually worrying you and you start to become more anxious. Think about things that you have to do that also make you feel anxious, such as whether you have to walk to school. For some individuals, if they simply think about walking to school or even are doing it, they feel extremely anxious, while when they take a bus to school, in that particular instance, they feel more comfortable. Think about those kind of scenarios and try to identify the times that you really feel your anxiety. So I hope you understand where I'm going with this. But I know for a lot of individuals, this might not be the most fun experience, because the way our brain works is that every time when you think about those scenarios, every time you think about all of the worrying thoughts, you have some sort of emotion attached to it. Most likely, while you're identifying these feelings, you'll feel some sort of anxiety, because it works the same. For example, if I say, when was the last time you were extremely nervous, and then you constantly think about when was the last time, and once you identify it, you end up picturing that scenario, and the scenario will be going through your head, and all of the emotions in that particular instance will come alive again, and thus you'll feel more nervous, even though you weren't even experiencing a few seconds ago. And that's why it's very important to identify your feelings, because this way you understand what the things are that are causing this, and now you understand where it goes wrong. Although, because I actually do want to be very clear in this video, for some individuals, they also get anxiety without having some sort of scenario causing it, and there's pretty much no reason for it. And in that particular instance, it can be quite hard to identify some sort of feelings. Although, regardless of whether you actually feel it because of some sort of scenario or worrying thoughts or not, it's still very useful for those individuals that just feel it out of nowhere to still do this exercise, because this will also help you with your mental resilience. And the third and final mental step before I go to the actionable steps is to accept yourself. You know, the thing about anxiety and teenagers nowadays is that percentage-wise, a lot of teenagers have more anxiety nowadays than the past decades. Social media has put a lot of pressure on us. Social media has put a different perspective on life for us. It has done amazing things for our lives, but at the same time has also put a lot of pressure and burdens, especially on teenagers. And this has caused a lot of us to feel very anxious, because we're constantly comparing ourselves to other individuals, to other people's lifestyle, and then we're looking at us, people that are just pretty much staying at home, looking at the phone all day and pretty much going to school. And with the pandemic going on, you can only imagine that it's much worse, because a lot of us have been isolated for so long, and thus it's very important to get rid of the pressure that we put on ourselves. Just think about it. Not the whole world expects us to become the next Elon Musk, do amazing things. You're still very young and a teenager, and you've got the rest of the world for you, and there's no point to pressurize yourself and compare yourself to other individuals, because the truth is some of those other individuals had some sort of privilege. Perhaps they had some opportunities that you didn't have, and thus comparing yourself with them, even though you've got to deal with your own problems, won't help you at all. And with all due respect, I'm not here as someone that likes to praise victim mentality, but you do need to accept who you are as a person, because if you can't do it, you won't be able to excel and take the actionable steps to take yourself to the next level. A good example of this is that, say for example, you're overweight. I mean, no one wants to hear that they are unhealthy or that they need to change themselves, and you can use all the little tips and tricks to hide that you're overweight, but in most instances, putting diseases and all of those things aside, it is probably your own fault, because you're not taking care of yourself in the way that you can do. You're not exercising, you're not eating well, perhaps you're not even sleeping well. And in such an instance, if you're someone that wants to change yourself, you need to accept the reality. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, you're not the only person that's probably in this position or has been in this position, but it's important to accept your reality, accept yourself, how you're at this point and moment, because this way, now you know where you are, where your current level is, and you can take some actionable steps, do some research, and take yourself to the next level. And the reason why I'm saying that accepting yourself is important is because this creates some sort of structure. If you know where you currently are, you have a mental structure, and now you can take steps to take yourself to the next level, rather than being someone that's confused and half-assing something because you don't exactly know where you are now and what you need to do to reach those desired goals. And these were the mental steps, and now I'm gonna move to the actionable steps. So I hope these were actually very useful, and if you're someone that has any sort of questions or feel like you need to express your emotions or really want someone to talk to, just comment something down below. I'm sure I will reply, and there will be other individuals that can help you out as well, because at the end of the day, this is a community where we can share our thoughts and feelings and help each other out. So the first actionable step is number 4, and that's to create a routine. So I previously talked about accepting yourself, and once you've accepted yourself and understand what your current level is, now it's time to create a routine and understand what steps you have to take to reach the desired goals or whatever you want to do. And all I mean by routines is to create some sort of structure. I'm not telling you to have a very specific morning routine and nighttime routine. Maybe it will work for you, but you simply need to test it out and see whether it's something that's good for you. Think of a routine as a structural change in the current reality that you're living in. So for example, if you're someone that goes to work, after every 45 minutes, just take a 5-minute break if that's allowed. And this way you have a little mini routine where you can just relax a little bit, just ease off, and then you can get back to work. And especially if you're dealing with anxiety at a certain point, it's usually better to just cool off, take a step back and relax a little bit. Because even myself, although I can be quite busy from time to time, I always make sure I relax a little bit, and everyone has a different way to relax. And one of the things that I prefer to do is to play a little bit of video games, because this eases my mind. And by the way, this isn't a PS5 flex, but I finally got it. Anyways, generally speaking, when it comes to change, it is very uncomfortable, especially if you're someone that's dealing with anxiety, and thus it's extremely important to create the mental resilience to be comfortable when there is some sort of change. And unfortunately, when it comes to change, a lot of change can be too uncomfortable or can be too intense, and thus that's why I recommend structural change, because these are very subtle changes which pretty much no one will notice, only yourself, because you're making this change only for yourself. Because for example, if you implement in your routine that you get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning and you take 5 minutes extra, I mean, who else cares about it? It's just for yourself to feel more comfortable and have that little routine. And thus these structural changes are very important, especially if you're someone that is dealing with anxiety, to get some sort of structure to help you cope with your anxiety. And one app that I've used myself, and I've seen a lot of family members use, a lot of my friends, and every single one of us has found quite useful, is an app called Headspace. And if you're someone that isn't really familiar when it comes to Headspace, it's an app that helps you with meditation, with sleep, stress, and mindfulness. And the way it works is that it helps you to find joy. It says catch your breath, relax your mind, and feel 14% less stressed in just 10 days. Get more good nights, put your mind to bed, wake up refreshed, and make good days your new normal. And personally, I have used this app before going to bed if I was a little bit stressed out, worried, or there are a lot of things going on, because they've got amazing meditation to help you put your mind to ease. It also says make every day happier. Do it for yourself and everyone you love. it only takes a few minutes to find some headspace. Headspace does have a subscription model, but I highly recommend you to just simply try the free trial out. I will have a link down below. I mean, just try it out. You don't particularly have to pay for the paid version if you're someone that doesn't know whether it's something for you, or if you're someone that simply doesn't want to. Just check the product out, use the free trial and see whether it helps you out, because I truly feel like that meditation is something that's very underrated, especially if you're someone that has a lot of anxiety or is dealing with stress or has a lot of worrying thoughts. Because even meditation and using an app like Headspace is a structural change in your routine, because even if you only take 5 minutes out of your day and listen to some sort of meditation, it can refresh your mind, put your mind at ease and make you more comfortable. I will have a link down below and I highly recommend you to simply check it out and see whether it helps you out. Moving on to number 5 is to track your results. So now you understand that creating routines is very important to put your mind more at ease, because then you have more certainty. And one of the things that creates anxiety for a lot of individuals is the uncertainty, whether it's the future, the things and plans that they've got, or simply the uncertainty of life. And thus, since you now understand the concept of routines and the examples that I've given to you, it is important to track the results of your routines. Look at the structural changes that you've made and see whether they actually help you to reduce anxiety or perhaps even increase it in some instances. Look at the routines and evaluate whether it works in the morning or the nighttime, because for some individuals, some things work really well in the morning, while at nighttime it just simply doesn't work. And thus, if you're really serious about it, I constantly want you to reevaluate and analyze your performance, and this way you can understand what works best for you and what doesn't, and get rid of the things that don't work and focus more on the things that actually help you out. Moving on to number 6, reward yourself. Congratulations, you've done amazing work. I don't know, it might sound a little bit silly now, because at this point you most likely haven't completed all of the steps and this is a longer process than just simply watching this video. But just simply think about it. At the end of this, when you know what actually works for you and what doesn't work for you, when you create your routines, it is time to reward yourself, because this is something that you should be proud of. And rewarding yourself really tells your brain that you've done something really good, and you actually have done something good. And thus there's no point of comparing yourself with other individuals, because this is your life. Because even though some individuals started at a higher level, you were here, but you took the steps to get to the same level, perhaps still a little bit lower or even above them. And sometimes it's hard to get our brain around it, and thus I want you to reward yourself, because the truth is that dealing with anxiety can be a long road for some individuals. And thus, by taking mini steps, and once you get those mini results, by rewarding yourself, it will be more sustainable in the long term. Once again, let me take the overweight person example. A lot of individuals that want to lose weight, once they start, they go all in 110% and they take the most strict diet. And yes, it's true that in the short term this will give you a lot of great results, but for most individuals in the long term it isn't that sustainable. And thus in that particular instance, if they don't take the most strict diet but take a diet that works and will give them results in the long term, then this journey will be more sustainable, and in the long term you'll end up having better results. So for that individual, if they focus on their diet, they exercise, get enough sleep, but then one day they have a cheat day or perhaps even cheat meals throughout the week, this way it will be a lot easier for those individuals to stick to their diet in the long term. And I hope the example illustrates why it's very important to reward yourself too. And finally, moving on to number 7, express your feelings. And especially you, if you're a guy watching this video, because most guys pretty much never express their feelings. And hey, I'm not telling you to constantly be emotional, express your feelings to every single person that you see, but what I am saying is that it doesn't do any harm to tell your friends about how you're feeling, your family members, because then they are up to date and perhaps can help you or understand you a little bit better. Because the reality is that sometimes we feel like that the people around us don't care about us, but if that was really true, why are they still your friends? They're still dealing with you, they're still communicating with you, and thus in that particular case it doesn't make any sense. It's just that the step to express your feelings is very big for you, but that doesn't mean that they don't care about you. Because should I tell you something cool? Expressing your feelings is something that's very ballsy, and if you don't believe me, just think about it. Why do most individuals not do it? Because they feel like that they will get judged for it. And the truth is that everyone will judge you, but the individuals that still express their feelings, they simply don't care about it. They know that that's just the reality and you have to deal with it. But however, on the positive note, those individuals that express their feelings end up having a better connection with their friends and family members because they understand each other on a deeper level now. And if you're someone that's an anxious person, you want to get rid of the uncertainty, and thus by telling your friends and family about how you're feeling, you get rid of this uncertainty, and now you've got more certainty because now they understand how you're feeling, and this will make you more comfortable knowing that there's people around that are willing to help you and support you. And yes, I do understand that for some individuals it might not be possible to express your feelings to your parents, family members, or even your friends, and in that particular case you can always reach out to a third party, whether that's a student counselor, a mental health expert, or perhaps even the comment section here, because at the end of the day, by simply expressing your feelings, you get rid of all of the pressure and the burden that you are carrying on your shoulders, and you feel so much more relieved. And I truly hope that this video was valuable, and those mental steps and actionable steps will help you out with your quest, because it can be quite hard sometimes, especially if you don't know what to do. And thus that's why I made this video. I did thorough research, put a lot of effort in this video, and I hope this will genuinely help you out. And also, if you're someone that wants to support your brother, please leave a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and also please consider hitting the subscribe button if you're someone that would love to see more videos like this or genuinely wants to help me out. And by the way, don't forget to check Headspace out. I will have it linked down below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate your time, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye bye.